All right, we are here in this public meeting to discuss the property at 1435 Tallmadge Road in Brimfield Township. The Brimfield Township Board of Trustees, per Ohio Revised Code 505.86, met in session on Wednesday, July 29th, 2020. The Board of Trustees passed a resolution to pursue action to demolish the aforementioned property based upon the testimony and the evidence set forth by various divisions, including building department, zoning, economic department, and health department. Today we are here with the property owner, Mr. Hankins. You are the property owner, correct, sir?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. So the way these meetings work is we will open the floor up to you to discuss with the board your concerns with our finding, and then to state what you're looking for from the board. If the board members have any questions, obviously they'll ask those, and then we'll have a vote at the end to determine what the next action step will look like. So I do know that Mr. Ladd, our zoning inspector, typically is in these meetings, but he had surgery this morning. So he was unable to be here. He did send me an email with an update about you trying to work with the building department, but the building department won't issue any permits or movement until you have an extension from the Board of Trustees. So that's the information that I've received so far. Mr. Hankins, the floor is yours to let us know what's going on and what your game plan is.
Okay. At the previous meeting 2 weeks ago, I was told that Mr. Roberts from the Portage County Building Department was going to be in this meeting. Is he still expected, or is that something that's not going to happen?
I do not see him here. If Mr. Ladd invited him, he has a no-show at this point for us.
Okay. Can we start off by stating which other departments besides the Portage County Building Department that took issue with the residents?
That should have been in the official letter sent to you. Stand by for a minute. I'm going to have to go through all these documents here to pull up the official findings. Brimfield Township Zoning Department, Section 505.00D2, dumping, storing, burying, reducing, disposing, burning of garbage, refuse, scrap metal, rubbish, or dead animals, except as specified, permitted in Chapter 3, and except for composting yard waste and kitchen scraps if property maintained. So there was a complaint from the zoning department on the storage of equipment on the property. And I believe there was a report from the building department. There was zoning violations. One of the zoning violations here, 1435, was issued in 2019. And this has been an ongoing case from 2019, it appears.
Okay, we did not receive any report from the Portage County Building Department from 2019.
No, these are zoning violations from 2019.
Okay. So other than the Brimfield Township and the Portage County Building Department, were there any other departments that are taking issue with the property?
Let's see, we have the report from the buildings.
Was Craig there, Nick, from the FD, and then the...
Yeah, I know the fire department has issues with his continuing burning.
I'd have to pull the reports up, but I think we've been out there 5 times this year already for burning.
One time is too much.
Right. We usually give 1. And then,
Yeah, so
and then we just forward it.
Yeah, the letter.
Yeah,
we do have the letter here from July 1 of 2020 for the building department. The inspection was performed by a representative of the building department. Based on their inspections, I find that the dwelling is unsafe and has structural defects, and the unit is unfit for human habitation. So we have that piece.
Can you tell me what specifically about the house was?
Yeah, you would have received that. You would have received that in your letter from the building department, sir.
Say that again, please.
You have that information already. That was sent to you in a letter that was addressed to you.
The only thing that we got was the report that Mr. Roberts made to Michael at Brimfield, which just basically states that it's insecure, unsafe, or structurally defective, but does not specifically state what is or why he made that determination.
Just stand outside of your house and look at it.
So my advice on, so for that piece there, because that is the building department, we do not run our building department. That's ran by Portage County. You'd have to take those concerns up with the Portage County Building Department. They are our building department per se. They oversee Brimfield Township for building codes. We have a zoning department that oversees the zoning codes. It is under their recommendation and advisement to the Board of Trustees that the property is unsafe and unfit and uninhabitable. Based on those recommendations, the Board of Trustees made a motion to move forward with the demolition of the property. So this hearing here is to determine, do we continue to move forward with that, or do you, Mr. Hankins, plan on making improvements to the property in accordance with the building department to make it habitable again?
Well, that's what I'm trying to ascertain, is what is specifically insecure, unsafe, or structurally defective, so that we can determine whether or not we can financially make those improvements to the house, or whether we should just call this a lost cause and allow the demolition of the property.
Then you would need to speak with the Portage County Building Department to determine, because that's who we would refer to.
I mean, just to jump in right there, Nick. Part of that letter said you have not taken any permits out for the improvements on the house. And I know you've seen that. You've done electricity without permits. You've done all sorts of renovations without permits. I mean, that's nothing with us. That's between you and Portage County. And I mean, just from a resident's view, driving by that, I mean, it looks like something from the ghetto. I mean, you got boards falling down from one side that all you have to do is get up there and fix them. You've had rodents going in and out. I mean, you got all you're running a business out of there. I mean, you might say you're not, but you're running a business. I mean, you have the worst looking house in Brimfield. You know, I mean, any other community, if you did that in Kent or Rootstown, they'd be after you. I mean, it's no respect for your residents. I mean, we have to look at that. That used to be a beautiful house. You have destroyed it with your lack of upkeep. So your problems with Portage County, not with us. I mean, you know, as one trustee, I'd give you some time, but the more I thought about this, I can't give you more than 2 or 3 months, because you said you were going to start working on it before, and yeah, you brought in some mulch, you moved some trucks, but other than that, I haven't seen anything. You know, and I mean, our job is for all the residents of Brimfield, and I don't even think you live in Brimfield. So I don't know. We would work with you, but you do not seem that you are going to work with us, because I haven't seen any actions on your part. That's just one trustee.
Well, regarding the permit issue that you brought up, as long as you are not changing the footprint of the house, you do not need to pull a permit in order to make improvements to the house. You're basically swapping out something bad for something good. I checked that with both Summit County and Portage County.
So like I said, that's between you and Portage County, not us.
Now, regarding the improvements to the house, I've got over 17 things that we have done to the house since we purchased it in 2010, as well as a list of scheduled repairs that I sent to Michael in February of 2019. Have you guys seen that list?
That's 10 years.
Yes, so I see a letter here about what you propose to do. So what we're asking for you, because of the state of the building, according to the building department, is if you want to move forward and explore the option of continuing to renovate the property, you would have to ask the Board of Trustees for a time extension to meet with the Portage County Building Department. At that meeting with the Portage County Building Department, you would discuss their violations and what their expectations are so that you could then pull permits to start the work. The Brimfield Township Board of Trustees can grant you that extension to meet with them and move forward with your process. Doesn't mean that you have to fix it, because if you fail to meet the terms and conditions of the extension, then it reverts back to the current findings, which is to have the property raised. So at this point, your options are, you can ask the Board of Trustees for an extension, which is, according to Mike Ladd, what you need in order to work with the building department to get a building permit. So if that is what you're looking for, is an extension of the property, and you're looking to try to move forward with the process, that is a piece that the board could discuss in this public hearing this morning.
May I have just a moment, please?
Yes.
How long are we looking at as far as an extension?
That is for you to determine. So you would ask the board, you would set what you would like to see for an extension, and then we as a board would discuss that.
Okay, so if I set an extension that is beyond what you guys want to see as a board, then you could reject it, and then what?
No, so let's say that you ask for a 2-year extension and the board says, no, we're not going to give you a 2-year extension. We'll give you 60 days to accomplish A, B, and C. That's how that would go at that point.
Okay,
So you have to ask for an extension and what you would plan to accomplish during that extension period.
okay. Well, here's my hesitation. We received a quote to side and put gutters on the house that was over $30,000. Now, that's not something that I currently have in my bank account, so I would need to go get a loan for it. The loan process may take up to a month, maybe 2 months, and there's no guarantee that I'll be approved for a loan. If I don't get approved for a loan, then I'm going to have to do it one side at a time, so on and so forth. So if I say, give me 6 months to put siding on the house, and it takes me 8 months or a year, is that going to be sufficient for the board?
So at that point, if you're not meeting the agreement set forth by the board, what we've seen in the past, as long as you're in continual communication with the zoning department, then you can come before the board again in a secondary public hearing to state, here's the work we have accomplished. We need extension because of these circumstances. We've seen that happen here at the board before too.
Okay, in that case, I would like to ask for an extension.
Okay. And you're looking for an extension of how long?
I think if you give me an extension until the end of 2021, I can redo the plastering that has since fallen because of water damage that has been fixed on the outside but not on the inside, and siding and gutters.
So
Okay.
14 months is what you're asking for?
Yes, that would be 14 months.
All right. So, all right. So we have, from Mr. Hankins, he's asking for an extension of 14 months to consider to complete the plastering and siding and gutters of the property at 1435 Tallmadge Road. So this is a chance for the Board of Trustees to ask any questions during the public hearing. So we'll go around. We'll start with Sue. Sue, do you have any questions before we move forward with any motions?
Well, I've done some reading about all this issue, and actually he bought the house in 2010. Now that was 10 years ago, and there was a period of time there where it really was a nuisance. It still may be a nuisance, and so I think we should really consider, I think 14 months with what we've already gone through is adding an insult to injury. So that's what I think.
Mike, do you have any questions?
I totally agree with Sue. I'm holding for 3 months extension, and then he can come back to the board. We got to have some kind of results. All we do is we have these meetings. We have more action in these meetings than he has on that property. It still looks like he's running a business out of it. So, I mean, I understand his plight, but my God, after 10 years, if you can't get that house done, move on. I'm sorry to be this, but I know how real estate works. And I mean, you need to take your business elsewhere. That's not a business. I mean, there's still wood chipper there. It looks awful. And plus you're causing us to have firefighters go down there 5 times now because you're doing open burns. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you probably have already been turned over to the EPA because that's out of our hands too. You just keep adding fire to your issues. I'm telling you. So, you know, like I said, my vote's going to be for 3 months and then come back to us and show us what you've done. But I need to see solid evidence. 14 months is ridiculous. There is no way. So that's my thoughts.
So, okay. You know, from my standpoint on this, seeing that the building department has reviewed this and says that it's uninhabitable, I do think 14 months is a pretty long piece. Would you be comfortable, Mr. Hankins, with a 3-month extension to allow you to work with the bank to see if you can even get financing to repair the building? And with that extension, it will give you the ability to go before the Portage County Building Department to ascertain what additional pieces they need to make it habitable. In 3 months, return to the board with proof that you're moving forward, meaning you have contracts with vendors to do the work that needs to be done, and that you also have identified a punch list from the building department of what needs to be done to make the building habitable and what action items and timeframes that's going to transpire in.
I don't have a problem with going to the bank and seeing if I can secure the funds. I don't have a problem with meeting with the Portage County Building Department to get a punch list of what they feel needs to be improved on the property in order to make it habitable. What I do have a problem with is no contractor is going to agree to do the work during the winter time, which puts us at least 6 months out.
So I wasn't asking for the work to be completed. What we're looking for is you to meet with those contractors and identify those individuals. You know, yeah, he might not side in January, right? But he's still going to take your contract and sign a deal with you. And we're not saying you have to sign the deal till before you come before the board, but you have those pieces in place. So we're giving you 3 months to develop an action plan that meets the building department and zoning department's requirements. It allows you to show good faith effort to the Board of Trustees that you're able to finance this piece, and it's just not a tactic to continue dragging this out and leaving this building in disrepair. And then from that meeting, we can set another extension to allow you to do the work if there's sufficient evidence showing that you're moving forward with the work and deadlines for that work based upon those contracts that you're able to ascertain.
I think that should be sufficient for what you were asking for.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion on the floor that there's an extension for Mr. Hankins at 1435 Tallmadge Road for 3 months that would expire, let's see here, on February 3rd, 2021, in which time he must meet with the Portage County Building Department to identify all repairs to be completed to bring the building habitable again. He must produce to the Board of Trustees at that time in a public hearing his action plan for each of those items and timeframes to complete that. And he must be able to provide sufficient evidence of financing to move forward with the project to accomplish that in the said timeframe that he presents. I need a second for discussion.
I'll second for discussion.
All right, so to the board, that's what we're asking for. We give him a 3-month extension that allows him to talk to the building department. That is one issue that he is facing, according to Mike Ladd, is that he can't get all the information from them until he has an extension from us. So it's allow him to determine how much work needs to be done to make it habitable. And then at that point, as a board in February, we could determine if he gets an extension to do the work, or if we find that he doesn't provide sufficient evidence or does not appear before the board, then we move forward with the demolition of the building.
Sounds good.
Mike, are you good with that?
Yep.
Sue, how do you feel about that?
I'm all right with that. I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm
Any
okay
questions
with
for Mr. Hay? Any questions for Mr. Hankins before we call a roll call?
No, I don't have any questions. I just want to see something positively done toward an to show improvement.
All right, well, this is the first step towards that then. John, can we get a roll call for this motion?
Yes, all those in favor, Mike,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
All right, Mr. Hankins, you do have your 3-month extension at this point so that you can meet with the building department and start putting together your plan of action. We will set a public hearing in the near future. The way that'll work is you can come, if you have the information before the 3-month period and you want to meet with the board so you can kind of get your next extension and keep moving this on, just contact Mike Ladd's office. Otherwise, as we near that deadline in one of our public meetings, we will set another public hearing if we have not heard from you to review the case at that point. Any questions?
Yes, how can I get a copy of this meeting?
It'll be done today, but I can email it to you. Do you want it emailed or mailed, or how do you want it?
Either way is fine.
What's your email?
W Hankins 10 at AOL.com.
Okay, it'll be out today.
Thank you.
All right. Hearing no other questions, I need a motion to close this public hearing.
I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor, Mike,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Closed at 7:54 a.m.